points clear of Arsenal at the top of the table, but there is time still in this season. And maybe Arne Slot's got a point that we shouldn't just take this game in isolation when we make our assessment of Liverpool, because at the start of the week they beat Aston Villa and then beat Real Madrid, let's not forget. With that in mind, Roy, how would you assess Liverpool's title defence to this point?
No, I think it is crisis time for Liverpool. As I said, we know they can be beaten at Man City. We know it's a tough place to come. And Man City, the signs are Man City obviously getting back to their very best. But to lose 7 and 10 and 5 league losses already this season, it has to be a crisis for a club like Liverpool. I thought his assessment of the game today was spot on. I think it was very fair. Yeah, the decision could have gone against them, but overall, City looked stronger, technically better, and they looked really much better physically than Liverpool today. I thought Liverpool like a really weak team today. Still at moments, of course, they've got that quality. They'll still cause teams problems, but defensively, the goals are given away, the decision making. I'll go back to that word, lack of intensity, lack of energy. They're chopping and changing, bringing subs on, but it just looked really flat. And Gary mentioned it, the managers mentioned yesterday he was pleased with the second half, but the game was over. The game is over. It's very easy to play when you're 2 or 3-0 down, when the other teams take their foot off the gas. So they've got Forest after the international break, obviously Forest fighting for their lives. To me
they lost last season at Anfield as
well. No, I think it is crisis for Liverpool.
Patrick raised the question of integration potentially being a problem for Liverpool right now. Do you get that feeling that he's not quite sure whether to stick or twist right now with some of these new signings?
I think last season they had a lot more consistency and his job was clearly easier. He was inheriting a squad, whereas I think this season they've, of course, made new signings, which some players have hit the ground running. I think Ekitike started extremely well, but the other players haven't quite got there yet.
And are we right to expect more, Daniel, when you think about the number of the value of that investment, over £400 million?
Well, look, it's an unforgiving league. You know, this league, I think the expectation is for players, just because the price tag's there, that they're supposed to come here and hit the ground running and be world-class footballers straight away. It's rare finds in the Premier League that happens, because the demands are high. The intensity of each team you're facing is clearly better than any league around the world. So I think some of the players are surprised at the intensity of the league, and Wirtz is one of them that's actually explained that in interviews. But when we're talking about the manager and talking about the team that he has to select, I think he does need to stick with a team that he truly believes in and gives him 5 games. I think he did try that this week at least. But it's not working out at the moment. And I think that the cohesion and the chemistry that the team had last season has clearly disappeared. It's not there anymore. It's not the same outfit that we're used to seeing. They've got to go back to the drawing board, clearly analyse all of the defeats. And I think even if we take the defeats out of it and we go to the start of the season, those last minute goals that were consistently happening, and, you know, how long could that continue was the conversation. Well, we're now having a different conversation, which is they've lost 7 in 10. They've been completely miles off it, if we're being honest, in the sense of their standards. Their level is way higher than what they're performing at.
Have they got any chance of winning the league from this point, Micah?
I mean, I always said it's too early, but after today's performance, you would say no. But I had Liverpool favourites. And the problem has, with Ekitike coming in, who was supposed to be second choice, who's done really well, now you've got a problem with Isak. You've got Kickaz, who's coming left back, who was supposed to be number 1. He's not hit the ground running, so now you've got Robertson. And then it's finding a place for Wirtz. Does really well against Real Madrid. And then today, can you back up that performance? It's not there. I disagree to a certain extent with Sturridge in terms of, if you get bought for 100+ million, you should...
about that, were they?
Oh, he's a handful. And he's been consistent recently. And of course, when you have an end product like he's getting now, then you take notice of this kid. I think we all saw him over the last few years. There's always been potential, but he's not been consistent. And that's the key time if you want to be a top player or a great player. And then if you're throwing the end product in, then yeah, keep an eye on him. He's looked like he's really settled into the club now. Found maybe more belief, confidence, and he was almost unplayable today.
we use that word a lot, unplayable, but it does seem appropriate here this afternoon because Liverpool just couldn't get a handle on him, could they?
I think if you look at his style of play, he's one of the hardest players for defenders to go up against for me. I think he's so direct, can go either way. His power output, I think, over a short space, maybe 1 yard, when he drops his shoulder and goes, you can't. Everyone that he plays against, doesn't matter who it is, he's going to cause problems. You talk about his dribbling, he completes so many dribbles, creates so many chances, and I think right now in his mind he has a plan. I think sometimes players who are dribblers, they don't necessarily know sometimes what they're going to do, whereas I think now he's getting himself into areas where he's like, okay, I'm going to go left here, I'm actually going to go right. He's not just playing off the cuff. So I think he's improved so much as a footballer this season, and he's going to go from strength to strength. The goal today was magnificent, and I think the only thing he needs to add maybe is more goals.
Yeah, and we'll come to his goal very shortly, but he had caused Liverpool problems.
A set-up here. You see Robertson and Van Dijk change not at the right moment, then allows the cross to come in, and then Haaland in the air. Okay, you could say Konate is a little bit unlucky, but when the ball goes across, you've got your centre-half, left back at centre-half, and they should just stay in positions now. Now you've got Wirtz in one way. He's not going to help you stopping the cross. Normally Robinson, if he was in a position, he'd be out there quicker.
Could he still go, though? I know he doesn't get there quite in time, but he should still try.
He should still go, but he's not set, Dave. There's a difference between going. When you're in a full-back position there, it's all about your distances. And when you feel like you're not ready to go, because you don't... If he goes, it can go round him. Now, City have got overload on the right-hand side, with Núñez going really, really high. But now when the ball goes up, it's too late for him to get there. Because he's got Wirtz in there, a little bit of communication. You probably want your winger then to just help you out, and then you drop off a little bit. But because he switched at the wrong moment...
But that's the fullback crossing the ball, though, so Wirtz should be out.
He should be out 100%.
They done the worst thing. They ended up doing nothing.
Correct.
Even if you go out and he beat you, do something. They've ended up in no man's land and lack that intensity and desire to stop crosses. And that goes back to that real desire. And to me, what I'm really disappointed with Liverpool, and we said a few years ago, 5-6 years ago, winning the league, the following...
Ball goes up, it's too late for him to get there. Because he's got Wirtz in there, a little bit of communication. You probably want your winger then to just help you out, and then you drop off a little bit. But because he switched at the wrong moment...
But that's the fullback crossing the ball, though, so Wirtz should be out.
He should be out 100%.
They done the worst thing. They ended up doing nothing.
Correct.
Even if you go out and he beat you, do something. They've ended up in no man's land and lack that intensity and desire to stop crosses. And that goes back to that real desire. And to me, what I'm really disappointed with Liverpool, and we said a few years ago, 5-6 years ago, winning the league, the following season, they lack that intensity of what champions need, because obviously you're up there you're the target and you're the best team. And Liverpool, to me, with that, we can show them little clips and go, yeah, he's swapping up. Yeah, these things happen in a game of football, but when you do have a decision to make, at least do it with some sort of
intent. When you say intensity, what do you mean? Just going out, yeah, but then you
talk to stop the cross.
You talk about champions and all that. Is that then just a mindset? Why would he not be going out there?
Maybe it's his third game in a week and he's not played a lot all season.
Maybe I was
but we can again. Yeah, but it's still early in the game. It's not late in the game, and they were home and they only travelled down the road. Sometimes you make excuse for players travelling across Europe and the intensity of the games. They've had a home game down the road, so you want to be careful making excuses. But we'll have the same with the second goal, and people say, "Oh, he can be unlucky with the deflection." That's like that intensity. I think if you're not at it as a team and you're just a little bit off it, like they are, at least get the basics right. You have to get the basics right, and that is stopping crosses and kind of being difficult to play against.
We'll come to the second goal, Roy, in just a second. But before then, the moment I suppose that Liverpool had to cling to was the disallowed goal. At 1-1, it might well have turned out to be a different game. And Virgil van Dijk gets a clean header on this. And there is interpretation on the law, whether this should or should not have been disallowed because of Andy Robertson's position in front of the goalkeeper in this instance. So the goal is disallowed on field. VAR have a look at it, and they agree that he is deemed to be making an obvious action directly in front of the goalkeeper. That's their interpretation. But what about the argument that potentially he sees that all the way?
I think he does see it all the way.
So should it then be disallowed?
I don't think it should have, based on what we can see with our eyes. But the rule book's the rule book. So if the referee is reading that, or someone's in his ear going, by the way, these are the rules. That angle's not favourable to Liverpool, but I think the other angle is favourable because you can clearly see he's in a fight. His role clearly is to block the goalkeeper. He's in a fight with Doku. This angle here, he's in a fight with Doku. You could argue when he connects with the ball, he can see that. His line of vision is impeded by Robertson. It's more impeded by Doku for me, if we're looking at the line of the ball.
You've got to reward also the defensive team. There's a reason they're coming up. They're not leaving people standing on the post to clear their line. They practice this. So he's a yard from the goalkeeper, so he is in his eye line.
Can we just play that last angle one more time? I think the reason why they probably gave it is because he ducked. So if you're a goalkeeper and you're set and you get any movement around you, just look at Robertson. When it comes in here, if you roll it on a little bit more,
and to be clear,
he ducks out the way. So now the keeper's thinking, is he going towards the ball? So
I think it's that movement they are referring to, rather than the fact that there's any line of vision which is impeding the goalkeeper in that instance. It's the movement in its
It's a movement. I don't like it.
Have a look at the bottom point here, making an obvious action, Roy, which clearly impacts on the ability of an opponent to play.
Yeah, and it affects the goalkeeper, because if he's thinking he might get a touch in it, then that affects his movement, surely. And the whole idea of these defenders doing it, they do drills, they come out so they catch people offside. And what they'll say is like, it's interfering with the goalkeeper. Even the fact he's ducking is that obviously puts the goalkeeper off. And if you look at the goalkeeper's reaction, he's very smart, obviously vastly experienced. He complains straight away. He doesn't wait for the flag. He's saying, listen, this has affected my decision making.
Let's go 2-2-0 then. And Roy was making the point that perhaps there wasn't that intensity about Liverpool's defending, which has allowed Nico Gonzalez to get a shot away.
But you look at it here. Where's the intensity? Remember, this is coming up to half-time. Big moments here.
City on top, very much.
Look, and the players aren't getting out. And I don't want to hear anybody saying, defenders will probably say that. They say Van Dijk might be unlucky. He's not unlucky. You've got to get out. Squeeze up. Put pressure on the ball.
Daniel, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's not good to see. Obviously, we're talking about a goal where the shot wasn't even good, if we're being honest. But hit the target. These are the types of things that can happen. Of course, he could have done better, but you get those rewards sometimes when things go your way.
So Liverpool had a better spell at the start of the second half, but then this really ended it as a contest, Micah. Talk us through this from Jeremy Doku.
Well, Daniel mentioned that he had a plan in his head, the little shimmy, and then the finish is just absolutely devastating. And I think what it means, sometimes you see Doku in these positions, and he gets in really good positions at times, and you don't know what he's going to do with it, but he was clear in what he wanted to do, and then the finish is just...
The finish is brilliant, but
just enjoy that technique for a moment, right?
Listen, I love watching that. Absolutely fantastic. But what you have, when you have a player cutting in like this, Liverpool have to have players coming across. I know you're not going to listen to me. I'm still it's a brilliant bit of skill. Oh, beautiful. I'd watch it all day. Sexy football, fantastic. But from Liverpool's point of view, when a player cuts into the box, you've got to get people getting out to him. You watch players just dangling their legs. That's not what champions do. You put your body on the line. Hey, fantastic finish. And I'd watch it all night. Listen, I love watching goals like that. Amazing, great bit of skill. But from Liverpool's point of view, how badly do they want it?
Yeah, we'll come to that. But that little bit of skill from Doku, where he hangs his foot over the ball before bringing it back across.
Like a line dancer, so I don't know what it was. That skill always works for him. He's one of the only ones you see do it. It's that yard that I can talk about, that small bit of power that he has. You cannot match it as a defender because he knows what he wants to do. It's about him making the decision and going for the move. When he does that, he's unstoppable.
It's an irresistible combination, isn't it? The delicate dancing feet and the dynamite finish from Doku, which sunk it Liverpool here this afternoon. 3-0, it ended as a contest. We've still got...
We didn't see Wirtz again. And that becomes a problem for the manager because the players who were supposed to be backups to the number one, they're just...
I think the bigger issues are at the back.
They're doing better
I think the goals they're giving away. I think going forward, not great today, obviously. But the goals they're giving away, the full-backs are a huge problem. Goalkeeper needs to do better. Centre-half looks a nervous wreck.
Yeah, but that comes from consistency. Alisson is a big miss.
Of course.
For sure, just for the chemistry at the back. And then when you flip-flopping between Robertson and Kickaz, he's not working. Conor Bradley did so well against Real Madrid. Can he back it up again today? And I thought it was actually Liverpool's one of their better players.
When you're talking about Wirtz, what you saying exactly? Like
with Wirtz, I think that if you are bought for that amount of money, regardless of what league you're coming from, you should show more than what he's showing now. And I've protected him and backed him up until this point. But you get bought for that money to show up in big games. You
are. But
is that fair? Is that a fair assessment?
It's fair to say that the expectation level of a player being, but you don't choose the price tag. You don't go, oh, by the way, I want to be bought for 100+ million quid. So that means now we're talking about analysing him and saying, what are you? You've come to this football club as a creative genius from Leverkusen. Xabi Alonso managed to get the best out of him. So far, this manager is firstly finding a position for him in his team. And secondly, the players trying to figure out the league. So you've got two different things. He's played number 10 in games. He's played on the left in games. We're clearly seeing that at this very moment in time, he's probably better off on the left. For me, the issue is that he's not shooting often, which is one thing that if you're playing in those higher areas on the football pitch, you have to be able to impact the game. I see a player who's someone who the ball goes through him. He's trying to create certain things, but he's not decisive. He's not, the last game, yes, we could argue he's putting chances forward for his teammates, but we do need to see more from him.
There's a good player there. He just has to get up to speed.
And he's got the age to develop, hasn't he?
Yeah. Let's give the kid a chance, but he is struggling physically with the demands.
So, worrying times for Liverpool at the start of this season. Manchester City right now are leading the chase to leaders Arsenal. The gap is down to 4 points. And we'll hear from Pep Guardiola when we return.